I was fortunate enough to get a preview of your latest recording, Atoms of Super Soul, featuring Dave Liebman.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful date. And I know there were some technical issues that day. Do you think that the technical issues and problems contributed to the success of the music?
In a way, of course, anything that adds tension as a result of some kind of malfunction can be used to defeat the process and the project or empower it. Depends on what you're open to. In this case, I was open to whatever it was that could enable it to reach a certain level, whatever it was. So if that breakdown or any kind of thing that happens in your case occurs, then you have to see it as a plus. It's not what happens, but what you do with it that matters in this case. See? I always say, come what may. I'm going to play, come what may.
And so is there something you discussed with the musicians when this happened to keep the focus on the music? Or?
Oh, we had come for the music, so there's no real problem with it. There may have been a concern because you couldn't hear certain things, so you don't know. If you can't hear, you don't know what's going where. See? So there was a little bit of concern there, but it turned out as you heard it. What did you make of it? So not about what the problem was, what about the result?
Well, I think it was an extraordinary result.
Okay, so that's the important thing, is the result, not what happened. See?
Before you begin the playing, do you set a tone with the musicians about what the specific project is?
Depends on where we are. In this case, what I did was I had in mind already for what Levy was going to be doing. In this case, we had John Medeski too. It's also featured in this and in many of my records. So I had something for them to do together, see? So that his voice can be heard without my voice. And more importantly, so that you can hear his interpretation of my music as being viable, standard jazz music, if you want to call it that. You know, music to enjoy because of the classical quality of it, or music to blow on if you have the creative intention and inventiveness to be able to do that, as Levy is quite abundantly gifted in that way. The same with the rest of the guys in the band, drum solo, and the rest, drummers, bass players.
Would you say that you determine the level of intensity of the session?
I'd like to disturb it. I like to add fire to it. That's my purpose. So it's not to get in the way of the music, but to intensify the process. See, to keep it real. See, so people don't get into themselves too much. So to get out of themselves. I think that's my purpose in life, is to help people get out of themselves. No less than my music.
Would you say there's unspoken agreement that goes on between the musicians as the music develops?
They hear it. They wouldn't be in my company if they couldn't hear it. And once you hear it, then you know it. And once you know it, you know it's flowing. And you go with it.
Do you plan the date to have contrasts musically, or?
Not necessarily. No. This one, yes, because of who came. In this case, yes. But ordinarily, there's no concern for that. It's just, if I'm playing with a regular ensemble, and that's what we do, we get deep. The idea is get deep. See, keep it real, get deep. See? Because if you don't get deep, when you have a chance to get deep, you're going to regret it all your life.
Is there something?
You can't wait for the next funeral to give you any sense of what the deep is. See, it's too late.
We were discussing service earlier. Is this your way of giving selfless service to the other musicians?
Awakening them? Yes, of course. Now we're talking about transcendent service. Awakening them to their own potential, that's a transcendent service. In other words, that could be something others can't do for them. That's why spiritual guides and spiritual types of beings are rare in a certain way. They're not the common, not better than anybody else, but they have their design functions. I have my design functions. Push the limits. But not to hurt anybody, push the limits so that they feel refreshed, they feel that they are exploring their potential more than they tend to otherwise.
You feel there's a lasting effect on the musicians from playing this kind of music?
I don't feel. It seems it's very obvious. Judging by what they say, it's obvious. And I hope it is as good as they'd like to think it is. And meaningful. Certainly meaningful and, let's say, historically significant. It's part of the progression of the musicians in general. So they can look back on this day and say, we not only had fun, but we actually had, let's say, an experience, say, of transcendence. Say, we got way out of ourselves. I think that says it all right there, if anybody can get in line with that kind of, say, idea. Yeah, it's about transcendence. All of life is really about that. Every night is about that.
And can you discuss the title, Atoms of Super Soul, and what it means to you?
Atoms of Super Soul. I mean, we are all particles. We are all luminous particles of the divine. And you are really more the fact of that when you are in a selfless situation where you don't know what's going on, but you're part of it. So you're okay, you're giving freely because the situation warrants it. The music is about listening to give freely. Listening into hearing about giving freely. And merging with others in the spirit of offering, celebrating this free givingness. Because it's given to us as a gift, especially in this configuration where the spiritual energies are powerful and strong and open and willing and able at the same time. Then you feel this rising, and that's what this is about, the rising. Right? The rising in love, not falling into what you might call love. You don't fall in love, you rise. You rise in love, babies.
And that all begins at the particle level?
Well, you have to know it. It's at the particle level, because compared to the rest of the universe, we're not even particles compared to the entire cosmic, like, infiniteness. It's we're like that important. But as beings within the realm of our particularity, okay, this is a sacred opportunity where we are lights, and it's good to share with others the resonance of the lightness of being.